This is Kathryn Goetzke, host of the Hope Matrix podcast. We are here to share science, stories, and strategies for how to hope. I'm the Chief Hope Officer of the Shine Hope Company, and Shine is the mnemonic for how we teach hope. So when we talk about hope, we talk about how we use stress skills, happiness habits, inspired actions, nourishing networks, and eliminating challenges, which are our thinking patterns that get in the way of our ability to hope. Hope is a skill. You can measure hope, you can teach hope, and you can start practicing skills to activate higher hope in your life today. And on this Hope Matrix podcast, we aim to bring in guests, experts in science, people with stories, and those that have strategies for activating hope in your life.
Hello, this is Kathryn Goetzke with the Hope Matrix podcast. Thank you so much for joining in today and listening. So grateful to have you here and to be talking about my favorite subject, the subject of shining hope, how we shine hope, and hope overall. And I'm really, really, really grateful today to be speaking with our guest. This is really why I do the work that I'm doing. Today we have Elad Talmor, and he is coming to us from Israel. And I met Elad, let's see, you reached out to me, didn't you, on email? So about our programming with youth. So first of all, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you today?
Hello, Kathryn. Thank you for having me. I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
Good. I'm good. I mean, we got to speak a little bit before here, so I'm already emotional and just, full of gratitude for you taking the time, first of all, to connect with us here, to share kind of what's happening. And, you're, tell us a little bit more about yourself. I'll let it come from you, your background and
Right.
yeah,
Right.
you are.
Sure. So I'm 44 and I live in Israel. I was born and raised in Israel, and I have one child. I have a son, he's 13 and a half. He's just become a teenager lately, recently.
Uh-oh.
And I'm a social worker. All right. So I have a master degree in social work. I have also another master degree in public policy and administration from Ben-Gurion University in the Negev. And I also participated 3 years psychotherapy school of CBT, of cognitive behavioral therapy. I'm also a psychotherapist. And I mainly work with teenagers. I work with teenagers in high schools in Israel. I'm part of the staff and what we're trying to do actually is, Kathryn, to help them out with sometimes teenagers struggle with all kinds of stuff, with anxiety, with depression, with social issues, and we are trying to help them to cope better. Yes, this is who I am.
That's amazing. Well, teenagers are fun and challenging to work with, I can imagine.
Absolutely.
When we did our teen program, it was peer-to-peer because I thought, I'm not going to listen to any adults, but I'll listen to other teens. I will learn and listen to other teens. So, no, but it's a great age to be working with. So that's amazing. And so tell us more about and I was so touched by when you reached out to me about our program and let me know you'd gotten our teen program for your youth there. And I said, how can I help? Like, what can I do to support? Because I mean, it's really why I developed all of this work is we deal with so many challenges around us, and I have a very high ACEs score myself, and there was so much, especially as a youth, I couldn't control, and yet there were things I could control and needed skills to manage life and didn't have them, and wanted to give that gift to youth. And so, what you're going through right now, is it, something I can't imagine, A, and B, when we go through any kind of significant trauma or challenges or anything, that's when we stop doing things that we teach. And so for me, you reaching out and saying, this is a priority for me to be teaching with our youth now, especially during this time. It's just, it was so touching, because that's exactly why I created do all of this work, because it is the most critical time that we start using these skills, or that we're aware of them and use them and practice them and are diligent. So give me a little bit more insight about what it's like, what's going on there.
Right
now.
So, Kathryn, first of all, I'd like to thank you for, when I reached out to you and you said you replied, and your emails were so encouraging to me. And because we had October 7th massacre here in Israel, thousands of terrorists, they did terrible things. I prefer not even to discuss it, but and at the end of the day, many people were hurt. Many people were hurt. I personally lost 2 friends of mine who were murdered. And what happened is that many teenagers were experiencing trauma. Some of them were injured. Some of them know people who got injured. Many of them were exposed to social media images and videos, horrendous. It was things that you shouldn't see if you want to keep your soul, if you want to protect yourself. So what I found out is that I can no longer walk, like I used to do, in 4 eyes. I need to work with groups. I need to do something which is more meaningful in this time. And I found that the work you've done, the Hopeful Mind program, is an excellent program and very beneficial, especially in trying times like this for the teenagers. And to be honest with you, also for myself, because it's difficult. It's to keep hope. Many people, I am still grieving for the friends I lost. Many people are grieving these days, and at the same time, it's very scary, and we don't know how it's going to develop, and the war goes on. As we speak right now, there's still war. It's 30 miles away from my home, near the Gaza Strip border. And also in the Norfolk border of Israel with Lebanon. So the uncertainty is huge.
Yeah, and I'm so sorry about your losses and the trauma and all that's happening. It's grief is a process, and so just because all of this is this is still all going on. And then there's daily things you have to deal with on a daily basis. And then, you've got your grief, and then you've got to show up for your kids and,
right.
And teach them. And I can't imagine. So I really commend you for your bravery and your courage and your presence and your leadership for the kids. And
thank you.
Yeah. And what you're doing. And
I'd like to tell you, Kathryn, the most painful thing is that still above 100 Israelis are kidnapped, are kept as hostages by those terrorists in the Gaza Strip. More than 100 as we speak right now, and I'm talking about teenagers, elderly people, women. It's terrible.
Yeah.
It's terrible, and so we are praying for them, and we support their families. I don't know any of them personally, but for me, they are like brothers and sisters. It's a small country, Israel, and they got well known, and their family. We see their family on TV every day. So this is the most painful thing to cope for me, and for many other people these days.
And so how are you managing your sadness and anger and kind of all of that? What are you doing to care for yourself?
Right. So the most important thing that I realized is that I have to continue be in touch with my friends and with my colleagues and with my instructors, and to sometimes even to hang out with friends. Many people, including myself, feel that a little bit guilt or shame that we continue to live our lives regularly, all right, when so many people are still suffering and so many kidnapped Israelis are still held as hostages over there. But I realized that I need it.
Yeah.
That it's a necessity.
Yeah.
So this is one thing, and the other thing is that I continue to exercise. I love running, so I continue to run 3 or 4 times a week, and it's helping me out to cope.
Yeah. And I mean, and that's the thing, like when we're under times of significant stress or duress, the guilt of, we have our stress hormones, which are so elevated. So we've got to do things to help counteract those stress hormones. And we've got to do things to generate dopamine and serotonin and those positive oxytocin. And so what are, we've got to make time for that, or we get sick, or we develop persistent hopelessness, develop clinical anxiety and depression, stop having energy to do anything, don't get out of bed. I mean, or turn to addiction to escape. It's like, and yet there's that guilt component of it. I mean, we call them happiness habits as our age, but it's like, it's the things that release those positive endorphins. It's trying to, exercise, getting sleep however we can, and prioritizing that during times of distress. And, you're under, I think, the most distressing time you can potentially be under. And so how do you bring that then to the kids? How do you teach the kids to do that?
Right. So first of all, I agree with you, Kathryn. The same things that I try to keep doing these days, I'm discussing with the teenagers at schools. We are talking about how important it is to continue be active, to exercise, to hang out with friends, despite the fact that so many other families and people are suffering, and just to pay attention, not to spend too much time on social media. I think it's challenging for everyone, especially for teenagers. Mm-hmm. We know it's not helpful for them.
Yeah.
And And I'm talking with them about going to sleep early. They don't like it. They don't like it.
Of course not.
This type of discussion. But just a little bit tips, recommendations about how to sleep better.
Yeah.
Okay, just maybe put your mobile phone outside of the room before you go to bed.
Yeah.
All those basic recommendations. So they listen.
Mm-hmm.
They listen.
Yeah.
Sometimes they don't. They don't look excited about all those recommendations.
Right. Yeah.
But they do listen. I hope that some recommendations are applied.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. Yeah. Our social media component of our teen program is we just have them research social media, and, so they start learning about and looking at the positives and the negatives and start noticing how they feel about it. We try not to say that it's good or bad. We try to have them explore and figure it out for themselves, because when we developed the program, we worked with teens to develop it, and they were very clear, don't come telling us about anything about social media, right. And they were open to learning about it and researching it and studying it on their own, and then having discussions among themselves on it, just not having a prescription from us. And so that's, a lot of the teen programming as we built it out was built them doing research on, violence releases endorphins. Like, it feels good to be violent when you're in pain. And so it released, but it's just not healthy. It's not a healthy reaction, especially long term, and the consequences of that. And so we try to, the teen program is all about kind of educating around that. What are other ways to get endorphins released? So when you need that, you can get, it's, we want to feel better as humans.
Right. Yeah. And I work with most of the teenagers are at risk here, and you're right. So when they are violent for a few moments, they feel strong.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then they're downstairs praying.
Yeah.
And things get messy.
Yeah.
So we are trying. Me and the staff and the counselor and the teacher, we are having discussions about the pros and cons of violence.
Yeah.
And because just for, as you said, just for a few moments, you feel good.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And there's a biological reason for that. And so as we work with teens on that and explain that to them, they take some of that shame out of it, I believe, for them, because they understand so they just learn they have to kind of become, get stronger than that biological response, and think, use their minds to think of other ways to get those endorphins, and, because when we continue to be punitive in our work with teens and shaming around these things, if we're not teaching them this, if we're not educating, and I know that we're not, for the most part, at least not here in the U.S., we don't educate them about this. How can we expect them to do any differently? How can we, so to me, it's so important that we teach these skills, especially at young ages, and help, allow them to make better decisions, and from a more kind of informed place.
Right. Yeah. Kathryn, sometimes we tell them to relax, okay? We set them a goal, but we don't instruct them how to achieve the goal, all right?
Yeah.
So this is when I find stress skills are very useful, because so you've got tools you can train, you can practice in order to to be more self-regulated. All right.
Yep.
So we are working out on self-regulation, and it will help you out in each and every aspect of your life, because you can choose how to react.
Yeah.
You're not drawn to negative, to your doubt, to respond from your downstairs brain.
Yeah.
And what we are using, a Shan duck technique.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's called a Shan duck.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically a technique that was developed by Professor Dani Chamiel. He's a psychologist in Israel. His expertise is acceptance, and command.
Commitment therapy. Love it.
Exactly.
With Steve Hayes.
Yes, and what he developed a tool which is very similar to stress skills for minds. So basically, we are teaching them, first of all, to stop negative talk.
Yes.
All right. Pay attention to your negative talk and stop it. And gently close your fists. All right. Inhale. Exhale. Open your fists.
Yeah.
All right. Do it once again. And now take 2 deep breaths. And it's so much similar to shine.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Stress skill. Yeah, right.
And then we go on to a positive self-talk. Okay? They have to prepare in advance a sentence or 2 that help them to cope with difficult moments, with moments they feel stressed, they feel anxious, they feel anger. Our homework is to prepare these sentences or these 2 sentences in advance, and when they feel anxious, now they apply it. They need to.
Yes, I love it. Yes, affirming beliefs. I love it.
Exactly.
Yes, amazing.
Beliefs.
Yes, yeah.
That's exactly what it is. And then they go on. They continue to do whatever they do.
Yeah.
And I love talking with them to give a metaphor of a basketball game. And when things deteriorate, so the coach takes time out. He signals, I want to take time out. So everyone goes, the game is stopped, and everyone goes to the bench, and this is exactly it. This is the fate. We take time out.
Right. Yes. Exactly. If everyone could learn how to take their time out, and it becomes magic when you start to recognize when your stress response is activated and can catch it like before, it gets to.
This is the challenge.
Yeah.
This is the challenge, to identify it.
Right.
A moment before.
Yes. Right.
The explosion.
Exactly.
A moment or 2.
I know, yeah. And to me, if we can work together as a whole society and start practicing these skills and acknowledge that we all, this is a part of everything. I mean, everyone deals with this, right? Everyone has this stress response, and practicing together how to kind of proactively manage it so that we're not, destroying things around us in those moments when we get triggered. So, yeah, that's amazing.
Yes, they learn so much stuff and things at school about the world, about history, geography, but they don't learn a lot about what's going on inside of them.
No, I mean,
this, and it's so exciting. It's so important. To get to know what's going on inside of you. How do you respond?
Right.
You're triggered when you feel anxious. And so this is what we are doing with them.
That is amazing. That is going to serve them so well. And, when we did research on our college course, that's what we found, that, we're learning this for the first time. We've never heard of a lot of this stuff before, in the Shine framework. And these aren't, super expert, level things that we're talking about. So to me, it's so important. It impacts everything in our life. And as we've, gotten deep into the hope research, is like knowing how to hope is so important to really everything we want. So
you're right. You're right. First of all, it's not rocket science. And second of all, I found out that people do not reject when we are talking about hope. Okay, they would tell me, we don't want to discuss happiness, not this time.
Yes, I know.
Because
it's hard.
It's so hard and difficult and painful.
Yeah.
But we can discuss hope.
Yeah. And I mean, that's really why I changed my focus to, I have the other company, the Mood Factory, and I have, the nonprofit and the Shine Hope Company, because you can't really get to happiness until you get to hope. And I didn't know how to get to hope. I didn't know, and they weren't teaching you how to get to hope. And to me, it's so important. And I agree. And I think globally, I mean, there's so many challenges around the world with so many things. And especially our youth are really concerned about, the environment and global warming. And they don't want to talk about, they want to talk about hope. How do we hope for and how do we get there?
Right.
What's inspiring to me is the kids are so charged emotionally. I feel like they've got so much passion, and it can turn to rage and sadness and fear, or they can harness that and learn how to use that energy to drive innovation and change. And once you're taught skills to transform that sadness into kind of powerful change, or anger, or whatever it is. I mean, to me, whatever we're so emotional about is just really an indication of what we care so much about. So how can we use that energy in a way that's healthy for us and not use it to destroy ourselves or destroy other people? I think that's the real challenge.
That's right. And that's, Kathryn, that's the reason we are discussing about, when we talk about setting goals, how important it is that your goal is appropriate.
Yeah.
That you're not going to harm anyone or yourself by achieving this goal.
Yeah.
Okay? If you improve something, if you help anyone and yourself, okay, it goes to the both directions, to help others and help yourself, then it's a good goal. Then it's an appropriate goal.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, having that kind of question ahead of time too. Yeah, absolutely.
And moreover, when we are thinking about the pathways, it's very important that you be honest with what you're doing. I mean, don't manipulate others in order to achieve your goal.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I'm telling many of them, you'll be surprised if you, because many of them, they have unsafe attachment. They don't trust easily. They don't. Many of them they don't trust others. They got hurt. We understand why. They were in their past. They suffered traumas and all kinds of stuff. And I tell them, if you ask for help from others, you'll be surprised how many people would love to help you out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Some of them don't even consider to ask for help.
It's and we know how important that is, especially with youth. Every youth needs like one person at least they can go to get support. And
exactly.
In the US, the teacher said half my class couldn't identify anyone. You think about that. And it's so important to achieving what we want. We know with goals, writing them down and then checking in with someone regularly. So having someone that can support us or encourage us or whatnot is so critical. And yet, so many youth don't have that. And so I love that. Encouraging them to find those people. If they can't, if they can't identify someone, how do they then create that person or find? And we tell the teachers, please be that person for that child and help them create that network because it is so important.
Right. And, sometimes they find this specific person. It could be an older brother or sister. It could be a neighbor.
Right.
You have to make an effort just to identify.
Yeah.
Who is going to stand by you?
Exactly. That's a goal. That's if we want. Talk so much about the loneliness epidemic right now, and I said, well, you've got to if you want connections in your life, it's not something that just happens. So you've got to actually have a goal and you've got to take steps to get there. You've got to overcome the challenges to making connections. And, so there's kind of a process. To me, if you know how to hope, you can then make connections because that's the process. I hope for friends. And so here's the framework for how to get there. Manage your stress around not having friends, practice happiness habits, take inspired actions towards that, just kind of evolve that.
Yes.
So, that's amazing. And so what are the goals of kids right now? Like, what are they? Let's hear.
They want to get rich and famous.
Oh, they do? Is that? Are you teaching them the SMART goals? Attainable being the key, I don't.
That's what they see on TV shows.
I know.
So they want to become famous.
Yeah.
I asked one teenager, "What is the reason you want to become a millionaire?"
Yeah.
And his answer was touching. He said, "I want to help out my mom because she struggles financially."
Yeah, right.
So now it's a purpose.
Yeah, got it. Yeah. We do extrinsic versus intrinsic goals. So if it's extrinsically motivated for just money versus intrinsically to help my mom, to get my mom her needs met or whatnot. Yeah. They still have to figure out a pathway to get there. So rich and famous, whatever it is, but what are the, specific, measurable, attainable, it can be attainable if you have the right process and you set, you go through the stepping process of the goals and you do the things you need to do to get there, so, but that's pretty funny.
Right. There's nothing wrong with being rich.
Right.
If you are a person with integrity, in a decent way, and you help others, and so if you are a teenager, this is a good time for you to practice commitment, and to working hard and perseverance.
Yeah,
and
totally.
all those kinds of skills that would get you there.
Yeah.
But there needs to be something else.
Yeah, right.
Not just to make a lot of money, but to give value to others, to help others, to
right. Innovate, create some challenge that humanity is facing, all of that.
Exactly. Kathryn, in Israel, there are many startups.
Yeah.
I mean, the high-tech scene is it's amazing.
Yeah.
Country.
Yeah. So much innovation.
Exactly. So many teenagers, they dream about developing something new, to innovate something, and to hope that Google would buy us, or Amazon, or Facebook, or whatever.
No, for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
So, and to get rich.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, statistics show that not everyone succeeds, of course.
I know. That's why you need high hope. That's why you got to practice your hope skills. Especially entrepreneurs, when you start looking at data, at the amount of failures and products and companies. I mean, it's, and it makes sense, of course, when you look at hopelessness being just emotional despair and motivational helplessness. So kind of powerless to do anything and emotionally like angry or frustrated or afraid. And you think about being an entrepreneur and all the challenges you face on a regular basis, like way more. And it's just, how do you consistently overcome, come up with new pathways to your goals, overcome your obstacles, re-goal, pivot when you need to. I mean, there's so many times you need to do that. And, if I had known I would be doing Hope for 10 years, I mean, it's like, I thought I'll create a program for kids and I'll kind of be done with it, and then I just realized it's so important, and it's so important to all ages, and yet it's been way more challenging than, and it's my persistence and perseverance that will continue to make it progress till I think it kind of will reach a tipping point. And that's what happened with my, the other brand I had too. But it's staying persistent on those challenges and sacrifices, that I've had to make, but in so many different ways, and just being committed to it and knowing from a purpose standpoint, this is, what I'm supposed to be doing and learning and sharing and innovating, around. But in the entrepreneurial space overall, it's, it's challenging.
I completely agree with you. I think you mentioned purpose.
Yeah.
And when we have a strong sense of purpose, we are willing to sacrifice in order to do what we do. I love William Damon. William Damon, he wrote a book about to instruct teachers and parents how to find their kids, their teenagers, to find purpose.
Right.
Help them find purpose. So basically what it says is that we should help the teenagers, young people, to find goals, long-term goals.
Yeah.
And to commit to it first of all.
Right.
And then it should be something meaningful to them.
Yeah.
All right. So the motivation is so they have motivation for it.
Right.
And the most important component is that they contribute to others. They contribute to the world. It's not only survival. It's not only about myself. It's also what I give to others. How I help others.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And that's too why it's so important that we manage our stress skills, and we get extra diligent about them during times of any kind of challenge in our life, that we, so that we can keep innovating, so that we can keep problem solving. When we're in our stress response and, our downstairs brain, we're not innovating, we're not creating, we can't create from that space. And so get back upstairs, and how do we kind of stay upstairs as often as we can so that we can fulfill our purpose and why we're here on this planet, and teaching kids.
Right. And teenagers, they cope with strong emotions.
Yeah.
And so, and the mind has a tendency to go downstairs.
I know. Negative bias and
exactly the negative bias.
Yeah.
It's so important just to teach them.
Yeah.
To introduce them.
Right.
With the possibility.
Yeah.
Not to deteriorate.
I know. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's like you got to keep practicing. I'm like, you don't learn how to hope and then all of a sudden you're hopeful, It's like life is, my hope scores change all the time, depending on the day, really, and the challenges. And it's then, am I extra diligent about the things I need to do to remain hopeful or to get back to hope or to, manage? Right. And, some days I'm like, I see no path. I don't know how I'm going to get forward or get out of this or move. And it's those days that I better get to the gym. I better make sure I'm getting my sleep. I better look at what I'm eating. I better, take time to meditate, prayer for me, deep breathing, kind of all of those things and become so important during those times. And, as an entrepreneur or any time of great change or challenge, and you all certainly have a lot of it right now. And so, and then when your stress hormones are elevated, you react even faster to things, to, your stress response, that time kind of shortens, the more stress hormones you have. So, and that's like during COVID, and we saw that everywhere. People were just reacting so quickly into things that normally people wouldn't be reacting to. And so, teaching these skills and practicing, as a society.
Of course. And we also encourage teenagers to practice self-compassion.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this is thanks to Christine Neff that shared with us, with the world, her research. And we are discussing what is self-compassion with the teenagers. Yeah. And how can they practice it in their daily lives.
Yeah.
Because especially in trying times like this, we feel helplessness.
Yeah, right.
We cannot. If we could, we would save kidnap the hostages, forget it, but we can't. I mean,
right.
So sometimes we just have to stay, to be with all those difficult emotions, and not to do anything, but just to gently accept them.
Yeah, honor them.
And just to be aware that and not to do anything. And for teenagers, it's not easy.
I know. Yeah.
Because many of them, they act out. They're acting out. I mean, they have to behave their emotion, they behave their feelings.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I mean, helplessness is one of the two ingredients of hopelessness. It's that despair and then helplessness. And so when, we do, as part of our program, the control the controllables, like, I don't know if you've done that with the kids, but what is inside my locus of control in this situation and what is outside? And so, it's really helpful to kind of think about that, because the more we focus on what's outside of our control, the more hopeless we feel. And then it becomes that persistent hopelessness and sad all the time, or, become clinically depressed or whatnot.
Right.
So like, how do we, go through that exercise to think about, okay, what can we control in this situation? And then how can we focus on that and stay in the present moment and to continue to do things to keep us present. So we're not worrying about the future so much or ruminating over the past or, and those are all big challenges to hope that to me, first, like awareness of all of them and educating kids on those challenges and why they're challenges, and then starting practicing skills to help kind of manage all the different aspects of the challenges.
Right. Yes, and sometimes when you are like a teenager, when you struggle with difficult emotions, this is a good time to help others. To do pro-social behavior, to volunteer, to support others, to encourage others.
Yeah.
And because if you focus too much on what you think and what you feel, sometimes
it goes down a rabbit hole.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just pay attention that others are probably suffering as well. And they could and you could do something about
Absolutely.
to help them.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And it's a win-win situation.
Totally.
Yes. You would feel better yourself.
Yeah.
And the person you helped them out would feel better.
Yeah. Absolutely. And that's like, we encourage others to teach hope. Like if they're having challenges with their own hope, download the programs and start teaching others about hope. Because once you start teaching kids and working with kids on hope, I mean, I've traveled all over, and like that's the most inspiring where, kids learning about hope and then how insightful they are about hope and about some of these things we teach and what they share. And it's like, and they get it, they tend to get it quickly. And if you can get kids early and teach them these skills, but that is, giving back. And there's so much research. We have a new infographic. I think I shared it with you. I'm not sure, but we linked out for our Shine Hope framework and all of the things that fall under the stress skills or happiness habits, inspired actions. We link out to articles and research that really validate the model that we have. And it's pretty compelling. There's so much research on volunteering and doing for others and how that helps us and why that's kind of a skill we can use to help navigate around when we get stuck in those cycles of despair or feeling bad about things or worry or kind of all of that. So healthy.
Right. I mean, Israeli teenagers, I meet Arabs and Jews, they're amazing. They're amazing. They do so much good things to others. Yeah. And they support their families, and they cope with the stress of learning, and but they are amazing. I mean, I have hope.
Yeah, I know.
I have hope that despite the fact that these are such trying times, and so much. It's messy. I mean, it's such a crisis we are still dealing with. We are coping with that. We will become better society. I truly believe it.
Yeah, I do too.
It could take time.
Yeah, right.
But we have patience.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I agree. And I think the evolution of our brains, I mean, we know that we feel better when we're kind and compassionate and forgiving and loving. Like there's now so much research that's coming out, and I think it's just part of how we evolved and learn. I believe there will be a day when we learn how to resolve everything peacefully, that we don't, that's my own, that's my own belief. So not many would agree with me. And yet I think that's our brains are evolving in that way. And as we kind of grow our ability to regulate the emotional, the reptilian, I mean, to me, that's just a old emotional response, and when we really learn how to manage all of those feelings in ways that are healthy. And I mean, we know it doesn't feel good to kill people. Like it just doesn't. It's not a natural. And so, I believe we'll eventually get there. And I think the youth, I think youth now are so compassionate and accepting of all and want everyone to feel heard and important for the most part, and I just think it's part of our evolution. So.
Yes, and they accept people from all kinds of types, and they don't have stereotypes like the former generation used to have about homosexuality and all kinds of stuff. I mean, they're more open-minded.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And so, Kathryn, my instructor, his name is Sahar, and he's an 18 years old psychologist here in Israel. And just a few days after the October 7th massacre, I had an online meeting with him, a long meeting with him, and I asked him, Sahar, how can we stay hopeful?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's unbelievable what's going on. And, and he has learned history because it's interesting for him. For many years, he has learned history. And he told me that many people who were in a fierce conflict and fighting, eventually, after years, after decades, sometimes even after centuries, they resolved their conflict peacefully. And and encouraged me.
Yeah.
Encouraged me.
Yeah.
Maybe, unfortunately, it could take time. When I was a teenager, back in the 90s, there was a peace process here in Israel, and we did actually peace with the Palestinians, but unfortunately it didn't last for long.
Yeah.
So I guess my son and my grandson's generation will resolve it peacefully with the kids and the grandkids of the Palestinians, the further generations.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I have hope.
I do too. Absolutely do. I mean, yeah, absolutely. And when we teach them the skills, they're like, yeah, this makes sense. We've done a lot of work in Northern Ireland where there was a lot of conflict there. We've worked in the integrated colleges there, which are high schools, but where they, brought Catholics and Protestants together. And, I have a friend that, they grew up and they were killing each other over were they Catholics or Protestants, and now they're doing the work in the schools. So they've, Northern Ireland's done a lot on the Hope work, and the BBC did a documentary on it. It was really cool. And I mean, I learned so much from being over there with those kids. And I do think our, because we know, like, there's enough science behind all of it now to make, I think, the case for it too, and what's healthiest for them, and that there is a way to resolve things.
Right. Right. Yeah. And Kathryn, I know many people here, Jews and Arabs, and also Palestinians. Most of the people, they want peace.
Yeah.
They believe in peace. They believe in resolving conflicts in peaceful ways.
Yeah.
The trouble is with the extremists.
Yeah, I know.
Among the Palestinians and also here in Israel. I mean, because most of the people, they believe that we can stand side by side in peace.
Yeah.
But it's going to take a while.
Take some time, yeah. And meanwhile, you're just working away with the kids, which is amazing. Really. How hopeful do you think the kids are now?
How old are they?
No, how hopeful How hopeful do you think?
Oh, not very hopeful, unfortunately.
Yeah.
The program. So we've been in touch, and I learned a lot from Hopeful Minds program for teenagers, and we are working hard in order to help them to increase their level of hope gradually.
Yeah. Right.
And so they were not very hopeful before the October 7th, and especially these days, their level of hope is quite low, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Because they were exposed, many of them, I think most of the teenagers were exposed to social media, videos and images, horrendous. I mean, terrible things they were. And so we are working with them.
Yeah.
To help them to increase their level of hope.
Does it help them to know that they can measure their hope and they can become better at it? I mean, they can practice skills and then they can use their emotional response over everything to change the world. I mean, does that message?
Right. I think they are more focused on changing their own lives.
Yeah. Right.
And just to many of them just they are concerned with surviving.
Yeah.
These days.
Yeah.
Just to hold on.
Right.
And which is fair enough.
Yeah, of course. Right.
When we are thinking about what they got through and what they are dealing with, they cope with. So what is helpful for them is just the skill to know that there's a skill that you can set a goal.
Yeah.
And then you can plan, you can make a plan.
Yeah.
It could be a simple plan, it could be a little bit more complicated plan, but you can make a plan.
Right. Yeah.
This is when we discuss about these things, I see their light in their eyes. I mean, I see that they are more hopeful, and now what we are doing, we have done our first meeting of this workshop where in one high school I work, and they have set a goal, and we started to discuss about the stress, how to manage their stress response, and I told them that next meeting we are going to make a plan, and they just I even think their body language at the end of the meeting. They were more hopeful. I think that they felt like they felt better.
Yeah.
This was my impression.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Because it's not a goal that was set by the school.
Right.
It's not another assignment.
Right.
So it's something personal. It's a personal goal. It's something meaningful to him or to her.
Yeah.
As a teenager.
Yeah, we have a new My Hope Story template too. I'll have to send that to you because I would love to get the youth writing their own kind of hope stories. It would be really cool.
I would love to share with you.
Yeah. Yes. What can we do to support you?
Those emails you sent me were supporting because everyone here needs some encouragement.
Yeah.
And if you could share some current articles, some academic articles about about workshops overseas, yes, it could be helpful.
What about our listeners? Is there anything they can do to support you?
What about them? Yes. Well, first of all, I have a request to make from the listeners. Just keep in mind that things here are not as seen on TV, okay? So, because sometimes, and that most people here in Israel, Jews, Arabs, Palestinians, are decent people. This is, if people would just remember this.
Mm-hmm.
This is encouraging to me personally.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes people, they get confused by what they see on the news. Mm-hmm. Israel is killing. Yes, many Palestinians were killed. But our Israeli citizens are still kidnapped. That were kidnapped are still held as hostages. This is what would help me to continue my work. I know that people just remember that it's most of the people here are good people.
Yeah. Trying to help the kids. Yeah.
Yes, and you know that Israeli teenagers are like any other teenagers. They cope with similar issues and struggles like American teenagers and European teenagers, but we are coping with the consequences of the October 7th massacre. Still trying to collect ourselves and to help many people who are in need.
Well, thank you for all you're doing, and thank you for taking time to share what's happening over there and how you're working with the kids and what you're learning and what you're doing. And I just think even parenting and parents in general can help with some of the things you shared today. So, and thanks for, activating these skills in a time of really challenging time. And when most of us stop doing these kinds of things and when it's so extremely important to the future of the youth that you work with. So and if there's anything else you want to share or say,
Yes. Well, thank you. You're welcome. And I'd like to thank you as well, Kathryn, first of all, for having me.
Mm-hmm.
And second of all, for sharing Hopeful Minds online. And you see, it has positive influence over here in Israel.
Mm-hmm.
So I really appreciate what you're doing.
I'm so glad to hear that. And yeah, anyone listening can get access to the Hopeful Minds programming at hopefulminds.org. And we have programs we have a parent's guide, we have a 3-lesson overview, a deep dive 16-lesson. Our teen program is peer-to-peer. So really passionate about getting this out to youth because hope is such an important skill, and it's a skill we all need. And I become hopeful as the more I work with kids too. So thank you so much. And we'll stay in touch, of course. And, listeners, if you're interested in learning anything more, I think you're on LinkedIn, aren't you?
Yes, I need to develop a little bit my profile there.
Oh, yeah, it's all right. You're busy. Well, you're busy. So, yeah. So you can connect with Elad there.
I'm more in Facebook.
Facebook. Okay, good. Yeah. I'm on Facebook too.
Reach out in Facebook.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Thank you very much, Kathryn.
Absolutely.
Appreciate what you're doing.
Yes, you too. And listeners, thank you all for listening in. And please do share this with others and encourage them to reach out to Elad too if you want to get involved at all in his work and helping youth around the world or checking out Hopeful Minds too. So thank you so much and have a wonderful day. And don't forget to keep shining hope. Thank you.
So thank you all for listening in to the Hope Matrix podcast. We want to shine a light that hope is teachable, hope is measurable and teachable, and provide you with actionable insights for how you can start activating hope in your life today, and provide a framework so you can start talking about hope with other people and practice these skills together, because we are better with hope. Please feel free to check out theshinehopecompany.com, where we list all of our resources around how to hope. We have a lot of free programs for how to hope, including the 5-day challenge, our hope infographic with a lot of skills that showcase how to hope, and articles of how to incorporate hope into your life. We have the Hope Beat Weekly, which is a weekly newsletter that shares strategies for hope. We have a My Hope Story template, so you can write your own hope story today. Also, My Hope Hero, so we can share what our heroes are doing to activate hope in their lives. And this is especially good with youth, so they can start looking up to people that have overcome similar challenges to them and seeing how these heroes use the Shine Hope framework. We have a Hopeful Minds for Teens program, a Hopeful Minds overview, educator guides. We have a new evidence-based college course so you can activate hope on the college campus. There are programs in the workplace, overview courses, 90-minute courses for learning the what, why, and how to hope. What I want you to know about hope is it's a skill. You've got to practice these skills to become hopeful. It's easy to fall into despair and helplessness when we deal with challenges in life, and it takes intentional work and practice to get to hope. And yet it is always possible. So no matter what life brings, keep shining hope. Thanks so much for listening in. Have an awesome day. And of course, I've got to add that this program is designed to assist you in learning about hope. It should not be used for medical advice, counseling, or other health-related services. I, Fred, the Shine Hope Company, and myself, Kathryn Goetzke, do not endorse or provide any medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. I am not a medical doctor. The information provided here should not be used for the diagnosis or treatment of any medical condition, and cannot be substituted for the advice of physicians, licensed professionals, or therapists who are familiar with your specific situation. Consult a licensed medical profession or call 911 if you are in need of immediate assistance. And be sure to know the crisis hotline, 988, if you are in need of support. Thanks a bunch for listening. Take good care of yourself and keep shining hope.